we're breaking down the 77th Emmy Awards. Man, oh man's record breakers were happening. Surprises dropped. Some got snubbed. And we've got all of it lined up just for you because you're
Yes.
special. So grab your coffee, your cocktail, and we don't judge here. Just settle in, sit back, relax, and get into who's leading, who's missing, and what it means for the future of television.
Yeah, and of course we're going to start off with the biggest headlines coming out of it, right? And that means who got what. So first up, Severance. If you hadn't heard, it's the big beast this year in the show. 27 nominations for Severance alone. That's more than any other show. But there were some that were close, right?
For sure, man. Our freaking favorite, the Penguin, is
Yes.
leading the limited series side with 24 nominations. And White Lotus and the studio both crushed it as well with 23 nominations each.
Yeah, and I mean, get this, guys. The studio now, first year out, like just boom, first year out, the most nominated freshman comedy ever. That's not a bad way to come out swinging when you're new on the block, right? It's like if you're trying to make a statement, that's it.
It's true. It's true. I definitely think that it's going to walk away with a handful, but not everything,
Yeah.
because you got to earn your stripes. That's for sure. Just like HBO Max, they just keep stacking up their trophies. They hit a personal best with 142 nominations total this year. So I know that is very, very good, especially when your stock looks the way it does over at Warner Brothers Discovery. But I know Zasloff is happy. That's for sure.
Yeah, and let me just say this: HBO Max now, and prior to the launch of streamers and just HBO, as soon as the Emmys started including cable, and not just broadcast, HBO has never looked back. They have dominated, and they have for decades. They seem to always come in with the most nominations, or and they might have a hiccup a year here or there, but overall, basically since the Academy allowed cable, and then I guess transitioned into streamers, HBO pretty much the bar. I mean, and they just did it again this time, 142, like you said. But what's the total tally for the other guys? Well, let's jump into the scoreboard, okay? Here's how the rest of them stacked up. As Logan said, HBO Max was on top with 142. But the Mouse House would not be denied. They came in really close. Now, of course, they've got things that compile into their total, ABC, Hulu, and Disney Plus. But they came in with 137, which is right on HBO's tail. So that's pretty good.
For sure. And then we have the streaming giant itself, Netflix, which clocked in about 120 nominations, thanks to the stuff of Adolescence, of course, and then the Black Mirror as well. While Apple TV Plus also landed about 81 tallies this year, most off the backs of Severance and the studio, of course. Those successful shows are two very different, drastic genres, and so they're racking it in with drama and comedy.
Oh, without doubt. And, yeah, the broadcast, hold on. Clear! Yeah, no, still no heartbeat. They're dead, guys. It's basically over. CBS, NBC, and ABC still there, but barely. No joke. Altogether, they averaged about 25 to 40 nominations each, which is well below when you're talking to everybody else, damn near 100 or more. You're coming in at like 25 to 40. It is definitely rough for networks, and I think that broadcast network television, I'm just going to say, within the next decade, gone. I really do think gone. If it even lasts the next decade, that's all I'm saying.
It's been lasting longer than we were anticipating, that's for sure, because when we started this show about 7.5 years ago, we were definitely thinking that it was going to go more rapidly than it what actually has. But I mean, what does this mean for streamers versus broadcast? I mean, well, honestly, the gap says it all. Streaming is king right now. Broadcast networks are definitely on life support, like you said, at this current point.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that kept us from being right when we first said it was sports. I think that's the only reason it hadn't died as quick as we thought it would, and now they're transitioning over to the streamers, so I think that's going to be it. But I completely agree with you. The streamers, they put out they take the biggest chances. Big bold stories, bigger budgets, crazy risks, like I said, which means what? They're luring the big stars. Movie stars are doing streamer television shows, which was before unheard of. You didn't ever, if you were a big movie star, you didn't want to end up on broadcast network TV. That was like a downgrade back in the day, but now it's not. And that's, of course, like Severance, The Penguin, White Lotus, these types of shows not being shown on network television anymore. They're just your state. I won't say that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. There are some here or there that are risky and that are doing well, but not enough, and that's why I think it's dying.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean, broadcast is still trying to stay alive, though, because they're bringing in these iconic legends, that's for sure. Because, I mean, look exactly at Kathy Bates with Matlock. She's 77 and nominated in the lead actress category. That's a huge milestone, but kind of the exception that proves the rule that is going on. Because, I mean, what was it? How old is Harrison Ford? And he just got
Like
nominated for the
83?
first time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's things like that.
Well, and she's like, I love that you said that, the exception to the rule, basically, because she's exactly what I'm talking about. A movie star that landed on a network show, which is just unheard of at this point. But look at the success that she's having. But to be fair, like I said, there are some really outstanding series still on broadcast networks that just aren't getting the due recognition, in my opinion. Like Tracker, Found, Fire Country. There's so many of them that are outstanding performances week in and week out by the cast, by the directors, by the writers, and really solid storylines, and they're just not getting the attention because audiences want new ideas and more diverse casts, and they're cool paying for it if they have to get that. But I feel because of the success of the streamers, you are missing out. Because look at Found, for example. That is a cast with just diverse coming out the wazoo. They had every nationality, basically, and it was about diversity. The whole show was completely ignored. And so, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. And I mean, you hinted at a couple of huge milestones, but I mean, let's dive deeper into it because Severance's Tremel Tillman is the most nominated in the supporting actor category. Now, this is one of the first black actors ever in that category for drama, and he could make history to be the first one to win it, which would be absolutely crazy for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And like you mentioned earlier, Kathy Bates became the oldest nominee ever for lead actress in a drama. And it's hard to believe, but it's her 15th Emmy nod. But this seems like the one she's getting the most attention for. But it's going to be on. Let's be honest about it. She's basically broadcast TV's Lone Ranger this year. She's really the only one that got really any attention and fanfare, which we'll talk about because I don't understand how she got it and Sky didn't. And like, because I mean, that's a partnership. One doesn't exist without the other, so it's hard to say we're going to give one and not. That drives me crazy when they do that.
Right. I mean, exactly. And I mean, also the studio scoring all of those nominations as a rookie comedy. That's absolutely huge. But the fresh blood making it clear that there is a new sheriff in town. That's for freaking sure. I definitely feel like, too, that this is a show about the industry that has never been done like this before. All
Right.
the shows about the industry in the past, even Entourage, it was more of a dramedy type of thing. This is straight up comedy. You know the stakes. There's really no overall storyline, but you have the pocket storylines of each episode.
Right.
And I think that's what they're doing completely well.
One thing that we loved seeing this year, and we do give credit where credit is due, there was more diversity breakthrough in the nominees. Tremel Tillman, as you said, for Severance, Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us. That's really refreshing because for a long time this category was ignored, but it's fun seeing young, queer, non-binary talent actually getting recognition in these categories on the big stage, right?
Completely freaking agree. Because, I mean, on the comedy side, too, Bowen Yang,
Yep.
Coleman Domingo, Michael Urie, they're doing very big things right now. I mean, the LGBT plus, like, talent that is showing up is very strong Plus shows like Adolescent, Severance, getting props for inclusivity, hiring behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we love that too because those are just as important as who you see in front of the camera. But as always, can we have any award show without somebody getting snubbed? No. So, biggest snub, and I think everybody was really surprised by this, Squid Game got completely shut out, like 0 nominations. And remember, it wasn't too long ago where it won fucking everything, and now like nothing. Just like biggest phenomenon ever to absolutely like, what? What's Squid Game? I mean, I was surprised by that, legit.
For sure. And I mean, you also have Handmaid's Tale, Hulu's biggest original show. It just got one nomination for its final season. We know how the Emmys like to finally award shows at the very end of their tenure, but it looks like it's not making the cut. And like freaking even Elizabeth Moss didn't make it. That is absolutely brutal because she's been putting that show on her back for I think 7 years,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, it's absolutely insane. And not enough people are talking about that, but they are talking about how pretty fucking shitty upset they are that Patrick Schwarzenegger and Sam Nivola didn't get recognized for White Lotus. That's because every other actor on the show did. They had to leave somebody off of the list for Christ's sake. And this is the one though. This is the one. This is the single most nominated person in Oscar history, right? As far as females go. So this should have been a no-brainer, right? But apparently not. Meryl Streep did not get a nomination for Only Murders in the Building. How do you snub Meryl Streep? Most people would agree that she's probably the greatest female actor of all time. Definitely of this generation. So how you snub her altogether and just be like, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's very weird because I mean, Kathy Bates, we keep bringing her up. She's the one that's swinging for network television. And I mean, there might be a tiny little silver lining for broadcast, but I mean, it's still really hard to see. And I mean, plus, you're seeing the evolution where we're at now, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of actors that are getting phased out, and the entertainment industry is looking drastically different than it did 10, 15 years ago. So we're in a very interesting time right now, that's for sure.
Oh, without doubt. And like you said, just real quick, Harrison Ford. First of all, it's hard to believe this is his first nomination. I mean, the guy's been at it for like 7 decades, literally. Yeah. And this is his first nomination, but 83 years old. He's the oldest nominee to ever to be nominated. But I like, because of what you just said, Kathy Bates, because I feel like if you had given Harrison Ford the nomination and then ignored Kathy Bates, it would have played right into that conversation that on the female side, once you hit a certain age, they phase you out. You know, men are distinguished at 83, and but women, they're pretty much old news by that age. And so I'm glad that somebody of Kathy's age got the nomination to hold, because it certainly would have played into that conversation. So kind of like what I teased at the top of the show, my thoughts on it are, and the biggest takeaway from it is, streaming is ruling Hollywood right now. It's completely evident why all the major studios have shifted their priority to the streamers. It's all about the streamers. And these Emmy nominations make that clear. If you thought otherwise, you're just mistaken. And I mean, this is why. It's all the money's being pumped there. All of the profit that they're trying to make is going there. And this is clear. This is the future, right?
Who would have known that when the cable industry introduced like the DVRs, the Tubies, the like, you know, the boob tube as they like to call it, the on demand. Who would have thought when on demand came to in 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 the society spectrum of the television industry that it would turn into this global phenomena that is on demand. You can have anything and everything you want, as long as you have that particular streaming service. So I never thought it would go this far, but it's very interesting though, because like the Emmys are always like, because with television shows getting multiple seasons and with their timelines for qualifications being so weird, like a lot of the same things get nominated time after time again. That's why we got so excited when the studio gets brought into the mix, when Severance over the past 2 years have been brought into the mix. But now the problem is with the Severance and the studio being brought in, those television shows with the quality that they are and that I'm sure that Apple Television will keep producing, they're going to be there for the next foreseeable future, at
Oh,
least three to
without
four
doubt.
years. So it's like it's so weird because the Emmys do not like to change it up. I feel like
No.
it's been like this for so long.
I do want to give them credit where credit is due, though. I want to recognize them, and we didn't put this in our list of categories, guys, because they don't show this on the part that airs on television. This is a separate ceremony, but documentaries. They did recognize Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, which was completely snubbed by the Oscars in the documentary category, which shame on the Oscars because it's a brilliant documentary and look at that man's life and what he means to pop culture and just generations of people. So kudos to the Emmy Academy, the Television Academy, for recognizing that and nominating him. They got a ton of nominations for it. Don't know if it'll win or not. We'll have to watch the governor ceremony or the little ceremony that they announce those in, but we'll let you know. But I just wanted to give props where props was due because, that was something that should have been recognized by the Motion Picture Academy and was snubbed. So at least somebody got it right.
Yeah, for sure.